I'm going to retire the flame wheel. I've had this for 10 years. It's one of the platforms I love the most. But about 5 years ago, it ran off one day and got in the top of a tree somehow. I have no idea how. And it sat there for 3 days in pouring rain before we could get it out of the tree. I had to hire a professional tree climber. They need $500 up front just to put their insurance in force in case they fall out of the tree. That way they break even, making no money. So had to pay him in addition to get this thing out of the tree. This is when it was brand new. So when I put up the video about using the piece of plywood to test things, this one had a broken arm. So yesterday I fixed the broken arm. It took 10 minutes. It was ready to fly again. I've flown it 3 times. No, I've flown it. I've flown it 3 or 4 times since I put it back together, but I could not get a tune on it. It just flipped upside down, etc., and broke. So yesterday, when I fixed the arm again and put the props back on and had it ready to go again, my intention was to increase the D rate on roll. Because what it does, it gets up and then it just starts flopping around until it goes crazy, goes in return to launch, etc., just not working well. So I figured I could turn the D term up on the roll and see, or perhaps put it on a potentiometer where I could play with it and just get it up in the air a little bit and try to tighten that tune up just enough to go into auto tune. So yesterday I also wanted to show that piece of plywood I used to test them. So I strapped this down by 4 arms with tie wraps and run a USB cable in here. And then I tested it. It rocked forward fine, it rocked back fine, it rocked right fine, and it rocked left fine. I started checking the yaw, it went left. I checked the yaw to the right, and when I did that, this thing went absolutely crazy on that piece of plywood. It evidently went into return to home. I was trying to get the throttle down and to the right to try to disarm it. You can't do that when it thinks it's in the air. I would offer another suggestion. Remove that return to home function when you're doing that type of thing so it won't go into that mode. So when it did that, it just went like full power, pulling against those straps. You can see it broke one blade off of this prop, broke this prop off both blades completely when they touched. I got a smell out of it after I got it shut down. By the way, it didn't break any of the tie wraps. Oh wow, there's my other blade I couldn't find. Oh, there's one of the blades that broke that I couldn't find. The other 2 went about 20 feet. And one of them was scary. I mean, look at that edge got deformed. How much it got deformed, and it's tough. I can't move that. That don't move. Had that been me or something else, that would have been bad. So that's the half of this blade. And then there's the 2 halves of the other blade. I mean, Jiminy, look at that. I just keep looking at it and going, yeah, they can hurt you. So it didn't break the tie wraps. Got it calmed down, walked over to it, and you can smell. Evidently these motors sitting in the rain those 3 days, it did something to them. Because all the ESCs are brand new. I started to rebuild this last year. I bought 6 new ESCs. I used the same motors I'd always had, used the same frame. Everything else was brand new. GPS, flight controller, camera, receiver, video transmitter, telemetry radio is one I've used many times, but that wouldn't cause any problems in this vein. And the reason I'm going to retire it is there's just something wrong with the motors, in my opinion. I don't think they respond like they should due to sitting in the rain for 3 days several years back, and then just sitting for several years. So rather than buy 6 new motors, I'm just going to kind of put this one back up as a museum piece of something I did that was wonderful. I like the hexes over the quads. They fly more level. They don't tilt as much. And they just fly more level. I like them very much. They got 6 motors pulling on a battery instead of 4, and the other but is, and rather than buy 6 motors for this, I'm going to buy 4 and build me a new quad. I'm not going to mess with this anymore. I loved it. I got probably 50 hours on it. It was a lot of fun. I just think there's something inherently wrong with the motors that won't let this fly again. The frame's fine, the ESC's fine. I think everything's fine except for the motors. And I'm just not going to buy 6 motors. And I'm certainly not going to buy 6 motors and 6 ESCs. So, the only thing I know to do is retire it. And again, that may mean that it's just going to be hung on the wall as a museum piece for something that I built and flown for hours. But one of my other points is that piece of plywood, having it strapped down to that piece of plywood, if I had not had it tie wrapped to that piece of plywood yesterday, it would have been all over this basement. No telling what damage it would have done. But you can't test it for proper function, that it picks up in the back when you tell it to pick up in the back, and picks up on the left side when you tell it to pick up on the left side, or it rotates when you tell it to. You can't test that function without the props on. And again, taking the props off, turning them upside down and moving it from here to here, 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 does make the platform push down. But I've had them get a little squirrely when they were configured like that and go skittering off in a direction along the floor, which can still cause a bunch of problems. If it hits a little something and gets up and turns over, now you got it flying upside down, which is going to be a total mess. So I'm still going to stick to my piece of plywood for doing that first testing, and anytime that I put the props on inside, I'm going to quit having a return to launch setup when I do that, because I think that's what got me in trouble yesterday. And I'd really like, for those times, instead of having a battery on top of it, I'd rather just plug into this and have a cable going out with a switch on it I can cut off if it goes crazy like yesterday, and cut the power on it. I had a big long USB cable on it here, so I could work with it with the Mission Planner. So that's it. Retirement on the flame wheel. I don't know that I will ever buy another Hexa. That's a shame, because I really did love this one. I had a lot of fun with this one. 2 or 3 years or more of fun with this one. I guess I should mention this. I did modify this early in its lifetime. I bought 6 motors, 6 ESCs, and 6 extension plates for this model. It was these motors, these little black extension plates right here, you can see added to the normal F650 arms. An ESC, these are not those ESCs. These are new ones I bought last year to try to get this going. But 6 ESCs, 6 motor extensions, and 6 motors from Aerial Media Systems was $750 at the time, just for motors, ESCs, and extension plates. These extension plates allowed the flame wheel F650 to run 12-inch props, which I ran for a long time. They worked well. But I'm not going to put any more money back in this creature. Called the kit their F650 heavy lift kit. That was back when everybody was trying to carry 6 packs of beer, etc., etc., etc. And it did make the thing really, really strong. It was powerful with the 12-inch props on it and these motors on it. It was killer. So there it is, put back together for retirement. So there it is, retired as a display piece. This one's retired and that one's retired. Those both have APM 2.5s on them. They'll never fly again. But I got them through their lifetime without breaking them. Basically that one too. So I still have 3 working quads. I really do want to get a 7-inch long range quad, but that'll be in the future. These were some spare motors I had. I took the ones that were rusted the most off after it came out of the rain. So the motors up there on the platform are better than these. I cleaned them up. Problem with these motors, it's hard to find information on them. And it's Aerial Media Pros, but they don't make this anymore. I'll put some links to some of this in the description. These are 2814, 22 pole, 770 kV motors, I think. There's nothing on them. Boy, that one don't rotate too good either. All right, guys, thanks a lot.